It was a day that would be etched into the memories of everyone who witnessed it. The air was thick with anticipation, and an uneasy silence hung over the construction site as the massive iron monster loomed like a predator waiting to strike. Its steel limbs gleamed under the harsh sunlight, each joint and piston pulsating with a terrifying energy that promised unstoppable destruction. Dust and debris swirled around its enormous wheels, while tiny human figures scurried across the ground, dwarfed by its unimaginable size. How could a single machine hold such power? And what would happen when it finally moved? From the first glance, the monster seemed almost alive. Its massive hydraulic arms stretched and flexed like the limbs of a colossal predator, ready to rip through anything in its path. Every metallic groan echoed across the barren landscape, sending shivers down the spines of the onlookers. There was a strange beauty in its design, the perfect symphony of iron and engineering. But behind this elegance lay a hidden danger, an unpredictable force that could turn devastation into instant reality. As the machine shifted slightly, a cloud of dust erupted, enveloping the nearest workers and leaving their figures hazy and distorted. Eyes widened, hearts raced, and questions filled the minds of everyone present. Could this beast be controlled? Or had they awakened something beyond human command? The tension was palpable. Every creak of steel seemed to whisper warnings of the havoc it could unleash. Yet, amid the fear, a sense of awe lingered. This was more than a machine. It was a statement, a terrifying testament to human ingenuity, ambition, and recklessness. Observers couldn't look away, captivated by the sheer scale and raw power before them. Every detail, from the whirring gears to the steam rising from its joints, added to the suspense, hinting at the dramatic story that was about to unfold. The day steel became a predator had begun, and nothing would ever be the same again.
The first real glimpse of the iron monster in motion was enough to silence the entire site. Its massive frame, built of steel and hydraulic machinery, creaked and groaned as it shifted, each movement sending tremors through the ground beneath. Dust erupted from its enormous wheels, coating the nearby workers in a fine gray layer, as if the earth itself was trying to warn them of the impending chaos. What force had humanity unleashed, and could anyone survive when this colossal machine fully came to life? At first, it seemed almost deliberate, each motion measured and precise, like a predator sizing up its prey. The giant arms flexed and twisted, pistons pumping with raw power as gears turned with a mechanical hum that echoed across the barren landscape. Steam hissed from hidden valves, carrying a sharp metallic scent that mixed with the dust in the air. The sheer size of the machine was staggering. Tiny human figures appeared almost toy-like in comparison. Its presence alone demanded awe, but lurking beneath the impressive engineering was a silent, hidden threat waiting to reveal itself in the most terrifying way possible. Workers scrambled to adjust levers and dials, their hands trembling as the vibrations rattled their tools. Some clung to the edges of scaffolding, others froze, unable to look away from the massive steel leviathan before them. How could a creation of human hands wield such force? The question lingered in the air, unanswered, as if the machine itself had become an unpredictable entity with its own will. Yet, for all the danger, there was a strange beauty in the scene. Sunlight caught on twisted metal and polished steel, highlighting the intricate design that had taken months, maybe years, to perfect. Every whir of a gear, every hiss of steam, and every tremor of the ground built the tension like a symphony of suspense. This was not just a machine, it was a living nightmare of human ambition, ready to leave a mark that no one could forget. The iron monster had awakened, and the story of its path of destruction was only just beginning. The Iron Monster's true power was only revealed once it moved with purpose. Its enormous hydraulic arms, heavy wheels, and twisting gears were not just machinery. They were instruments of unstoppable force, hiding a threat that no one had fully comprehended until this moment. Dust billowed around its base, swirling like ghostly warnings, while tiny human figures struggled to navigate the chaos. How could a single machine, born from human ingenuity, hold so much destructive potential? From a distance, it seemed almost graceful, each movement precise, almost deliberate, like a predator stalking the land. But as the ground trembled beneath its weight, the illusion of control vanished. Every piston hissed, and every gear groaned under the immense pressure of motion. Sparks flickered from joints and friction points, and steam shot from hidden valves, the machine revealing glimpses of the raw energy coiled inside. It was both magnificent and terrifying, a silent testament to the power humans could unleash and the dangers they often overlooked. Workers watched with a mix of awe and fear. Some clutched the edges of machinery for balance, while others froze, unable to tear their eyes away from the mechanical behemoth. Shadows stretched across cracked terrain, emphasizing the monster's scale and the peril beneath its steel exterior. Questions haunted the minds of everyone present. Could this power be controlled? Was it a tool, or had they created a force that might turn on its creators? Yet amid the tension, there was an undeniable fascination. The machine was a marvel of engineering, a symphony of steel, hydraulic fluid, and ingenuity, but its beauty masked the chaos it could unleash at any second. Tiny workers looked on like spectators of a living nightmare, dwarfed by the sheer magnitude of the iron giant. Every movement hinted at uncharted destruction, every hiss of steam suggested hidden danger. The monster had revealed a simple truth. Raw power, no matter how carefully designed, carries a threat that cannot always be predicted. The awe-inspiring machine was no longer just a marvel. It had become a silent predator, its true potential only beginning to surface. And for those who watched, the realization settled like a shadow over the sight. Nothing would ever be the same again. Amid the monstrous presence of the Iron Giant, the human perspective became the lens through which the true scale of danger and awe could be felt. Workers moved cautiously across the construction site, their figures tiny against the sprawling machinery, each step measured as if the ground itself might betray them. Dust swirled in thick clouds, clinging to clothing and skin, while the distant hum of hydraulic pistons and the groan of steel joints filled the air like a living heartbeat. How did it feel to stand in the shadow of a machine that could crush everything in an instant? From their vantage points, the monster was both terrifying and mesmerizing. Its massive wheels churned dirt and rubble, leaving deep tracks that dwarfed any human footprint. Hydraulic arms twisted and flexed with the precision of a predator, while gears turned with a mechanical rhythm that was almost hypnotic. Every movement created vibrations that rippled through scaffolding and tools, making the workers acutely aware of their own fragility. Some clutched handrails, others paused to watch, hearts pounding, minds racing with questions. Could they control it? Could it turn on them? Yet life for the workers was more than fear. It was a test of skill, coordination, and endurance. They navigated precarious scaffolding, adjusted massive bolts, and guided immense steel beams into place. Tiny humans orchestrating a delicate dance with a mechanical giant. The contrast was stark. Human hands, worn and calloused, working in harmony with cold, unyielding steel. Every wrench turn, every shouted instruction was a small act of courage in a world dominated by metal and power. Amid the dust and chaos, there was camaraderie, an unspoken understanding among the workers that survival and success depended on teamwork. Their eyes reflected awe, fear, and respect for the immense machine, each step a reminder of human vulnerability in the face of raw mechanical force. Through their perspective, the monster's true power was revealed, not just in destruction, but in the tension, anticipation, and determination it inspired. For the workers, the story was immediate, personal, and visceral. Every moment mattered, every movement could be life or death. The Iron Giant was not just a machine, it was a world unto itself, seen through the eyes of those who dared to work alongside it. To truly understand the Iron Monster, one had to trace its origins, a story of ambition, ingenuity, and human obsession with power. Long before its wheels crushed the earth and its hydraulic arms tore through obstacles, engineers and laborers had labored for months, even years, designing every joint, every piston, and every massive steel beam. It was a testament to human ingenuity, yet one that carried hidden dangers waiting to be awakened. How did a simple vision of progress evolve into a machine capable of unstoppable destruction? Blueprints covered every surface, filled with meticulous measurements, angles, and calculations. Dusty tables were littered with pencils, compasses, and instruments of precision, their owners working tirelessly under the harsh glare of sunlight or flickering lanterns. Every line drawn, every note scribbled in the margins reflected not just technical skill, but human ambition and the delicate balance between creation and catastrophe. This was more than engineering, it was the forging of a mechanical predator, a giant that would challenge both nature and humanity itself. The construction site itself was a marvel of coordination and labor. Massive steel beams were hoisted into place, scaffolding stretched like a lattice across the landscape, and tiny workers climbed precariously, moving tools and materials with precise timing. Steam hissed from early machinery, metal groaned under pressure, and clouds of dust and sparks rose with every welding torch. Observers from afar could hardly believe the scale of what humans had built, a giant of iron and hydraulic power towering over its creators. Yet for all the marvel, there was unease. Engineers whispered about stresses in the joints, about pistons that might fail under pressure, about the limits of human control over such immense force. Every carefully calculated detail carried the weight of risk, a reminder that ambition could quickly turn into disaster. And as the machine began to move, its historical context became chillingly clear. This was not just a creation of steel, but the culmination of decades of human skill, obsession, and audacious innovation. The Iron Monster was born from history itself, a legacy of ambition, ingenuity, and warning. Its story was rooted in the past, but its consequences would unfold in the present, a reminder that the greatest creations often hide the most dangerous truths. The calm anticipation of the day shattered in an instant. One moment, the Iron Monster loomed silently, its massive steel frame a marvel of human engineering. The next, it moved with unstoppable force, sending tremors through the ground that knocked tools and workers off balance. Dust erupted into the sky, mixing with smoke from early machinery, turning the site into a gray haze where tiny human figures darted in panic. How could a creation of human hands wreak such instantaneous chaos? And who would survive the monster's path? Its hydraulic arms swung with terrifying precision, crushing steel beams and splintering trees like twigs. Wheels larger than any human could comprehend gouged deep tracks into the earth, uprooting everything in their path. Sparks flew from friction points, metal twisted under the immense pressure, and the air vibrated with the groans of machinery strained to its limits. Observers froze in disbelief, some clutching scaffolding, others shielding their eyes from flying debris as the full magnitude of destruction became horrifyingly clear. Every second brought new questions. Could anyone escape its path? Could this mechanical giant be stopped before it obliterated everything? Amid the chaos, human courage and instinct collided. Workers shouted warnings, pulled each other from danger, and scrambled to protect vital tools and blueprints. Dust coated every surface, sparks rained from collapsing steel, and shadows stretched long across cracked earth, emphasizing the sheer scale of the disaster. Yet even in fear, fascination lingered. No one could tear their eyes away from the monstrous display of power, a living testament to both ingenuity and danger. The machine's path of destruction was not just physical, it was psychological. The sight of crushed structures, twisted metal, and splintered timber left a haunting impression on everyone present. The iron monster had revealed its true nature, a predator born from ambition, a force that could not be tamed, and a terrifying reminder of what happens when human creation exceeds control. By the end of the day, the sight was unrecognizable, and the lesson was clear. Raw power, no matter how brilliantly engineered, carries consequences that can erupt in an instant, leaving awe and terror intertwined in its wake.
The aftermath of the Iron Monster's rampage was both awe-inspiring and horrifying. What was once a vibrant construction site and surrounding landscape had been transformed into a scene of utter devastation. Trees lay splintered across the ground, steel beams twisted like paper, and massive tire tracks gouged deep scars into the earth. Tiny human figures wandered among the wreckage, dwarfed by the scale of destruction, their eyes wide with disbelief. How could a single machine leave such a mark on the world? And what would this level of force mean for the future? The monster's path of destruction revealed the true consequences of unchecked power. Its wheels had flattened everything in their path, leaving deep grooves in soil and stone. Hydraulic arms had torn apart partially assembled machinery, scattering steel components like toys. Dust and smoke still hung in the air, clinging to clothing, skin, and equipment. Shadows stretched long across the scarred terrain, emphasizing the enormity of the machine's impact. Every detail, from crushed tree trunks to shattered beams, told a story of mechanical might and human vulnerability. Workers moved cautiously, their small figures navigating through debris and twisted steel. Some knelt beside ruined equipment, examining the damage. Others simply stood in stunned silence, taking in the enormity of what had been unleashed. The scene was a stark contrast between human fragility and the unstoppable force of the Iron Giant. It was a reminder that ambition, while inspiring, carries consequences that can be as devastating as they are inevitable. Even in the face of destruction, there was a strange, haunting beauty. Sunlight caught on the jagged steel edges, dust motes floated like tiny stars, and the intricate details of the machine's design were laid bare in the wreckage. Every torn beam, every splintered tree told a story of power, scale, and consequence. For those who witnessed it, the monster's impact was more than physical. It was a lesson in the dangerous brilliance of human creation, leaving behind scars that would not soon fade. The big impact of the Iron Monster was clear. It was not just a machine, but force that reshaped the land, tested human limits, and demanded reflection on the true cost of ambition. As the dust settled and the Iron Monster finally came to a halt, the full weight of its actions became painfully clear. The landscape was unrecognizable. Twisted steel and splintered trees lay strewn across the terrain. Deep grooves marked the paths of its wheels, and the air still carried the sharp metallic tang of destruction. Tiny human figures moved cautiously among the wreckage, their expressions a mix of awe, fear, and reflection. What had begun as a marvel of engineering had become a lesson in the dangers of ambition.
How could such brilliance and ingenuity coexist with such catastrophic consequences? Workers paused to survey the devastation, their hands resting on shattered beams or clutching tools now rendered useless. Some knelt in silent contemplation, absorbing the scale of what they had witnessed, while others quietly discussed what could have gone differently. Every piece of twisted metal, every crushed tree seemed to whisper a warning. Raw power, no matter how meticulously engineered, carries a moral responsibility that cannot be ignored. The iron monster had left more than physical scars. It had left a psychological imprint on all who witnessed it. Yet, amidst the destruction, there was a strange beauty in reflection. Sunlight pierced through lingering dust, casting long shadows across the terrain and highlighting textures of steel and earth alike. The intricate details of the machine, once a symbol of human ambition, now stood as a reminder of the fine line between creation and catastrophe. Tiny human figures moved through the wreckage with deliberate care, learning, observing, and understanding that every act of innovation comes with consequences. This final chapter was not just about the machine, it was about human responsibility, perspective, and legacy. The iron monster had become a mirror, reflecting the ambitions, fears, and ingenuity of those who built it. Its story was a cautionary tale. Progress without consideration, power without restraint, and innovation without foresight could leave a trail far larger than one ever imagines. The moral legacy was clear. True mastery lies not only in creation, but in the wisdom to respect and control what one unleashes. As the sun dipped below the horizon, shadows stretched across the shattered land, reminding all who watched that ambition, however grand, must always be tempered with caution, humility, and foresight.